Delhi, and Rohit Sharma is on the ground in Washington, D.C. Let me come to you, Rohit, first there. We'll go to Rohit in a moment, but I want to come to you, Pranay. Pranay, what is the MEA making out of this statement? MEA issues a detailed record of what they claimed happened in that phone conversation, claiming India emphasized to Donald Trump that they would not accept mediation and appeared to suggest that India was pushed into a ceasefire because Pakistan wanted one. And here goes Donald Trump claiming, I stopped the war. Hasn't this been embarrassing in a way for the ministry?
Not an embarrassment, Rajdeep, because if you would notice that this is not for the first time Government of India or MEA has said this thing. Foreign Secretary only gave the narration about the phone call between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Donald Trump. This is the first leadership level contact between the two countries. But if you see this, the stated position of Ministry of External Affairs, the spokesperson of Ministry of External Affairs has said it even in previous press conferences that there is no mediation offered, there was no quid pro quo. Not even the mention about the word trade. As far as the contact between the United States and India is concerned vis-a-vis the Operation Sindoor and the cessation of firing between India and Pakistan, because that was agreed between India and Pakistan through the DGMO level talks. Not even that, the Foreign Minister of India, External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar also said the same thing. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi did not say a new thing or what has been told to media by the Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri in today's
Yeah, but Donald Trump is challenging the Indian narrative effectively. Every time Donald Trump says, I stopped the war, he's challenging what India is claiming.
Yeah, you're right, but this is not for the first time. As you rightly mentioned, this is for the 15th time. But you could also make out, Rajdeep, when the President of the United States standing on the South Lawns of the White House and asking the media reporters that, did you write about it? Did you write this thing? He asked this question multiple times. So clearly you can make out that he's asking for the credit. He's looking for a byline. And as far as the byline for his foreign policy achievements are concerned, this is the only thing he has to show, because he also mentions that, he failed, he could not stop the war between Russia and Ukraine. He could not find a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, and now he's in a position to have joining the Israeli campaign against Iran. So clearly this is what he's looking as an achievement to find some credit.
I take your point. That's an interesting way to put it. Donald Trump is looking for a byline, a headline. Rohit Sharma, you're joining us from Washington, D.C., where in a short while from now, Donald Trump will be hosting General Asim Munir, Field Marshal of Pakistan, for lunch. It seems, at least from a distance, that Donald Trump wants to be seen as some kind of a deal maker without being seen to take sides either for India or for Pakistan, simply strike deals with both sides. Is that the impression in Washington as well?
Exactly, Rajdeep. I think, the buzzword in the Beltway here in Washington, D.C. is deal. I think that's what even President has said multiple times, using multiple platforms, that he's ready to make a deal with anybody and everybody. So it is going to be very closely watched as what the outcome of this meeting could mean. Remember, this is historic. He's not a dictator yet, Mr. Munir. Still chief of staff. The last two people, head of state, dictators who met a sitting US president were Mr. Yahya Khan in the 70s and Musharraf. So it kind of also speaks to the fact that the Americans know who they are dealing with, who controls the government in Pakistan. They have a sitting prime minister in Pakistan who was not invited as a state, as the head of the state for this meeting. So I think there is going to be some sort of arrangement, and we do not know what that is, and everybody's guessing what that could mean. Is it going to be a critical minerals deal? Is it going to be bases? Is it going to be more funding? We have to wait and watch what that means.
Right.
But clearly Donald Trump, is elevating Pakistan back to where it was in the 90s.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Rohit Sharma, Pankaj Upadhyay for joining me there on that story that's breaking at the moment. Donald Trump once again grabbing all the headlines, effectively wanting to claim credit, he says, for the ceasefire between India and Pakistan. Now, all of that is very well. The truth of the matter is, from the Russia-Ukraine war to the rising tensions between Iran and Israel, Donald Trump has repeatedly promised to be a peacemaker. But the truth is, he hasn't been able to stop wars. In fact, Trump's peacemaker image is now appearing increasingly hollow in the face of escalating global tensions. What do we then make out of what Donald Trump is up to, whether with India, Pakistan, or indeed between Israel and Iran? Take a look at this report.
My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier.
He says he hates wars. He claims he wants peace. He believes he alone can fix it. But time and again, Donald Trump seems to promise peace only to turn around and play from both sides. A day after he exited the G7 summit prematurely, Donald Trump was at the receiving end of a hard-hitting phone call from Prime Minister Narendra Modi. A 35-minute telephonic conversation which demolished Trump's repeated claims of brokering the Indo-Pakistan truce after Operation Sindoor. Modi told Trump that India has opted for ceasefire only after Pak begged for it.
सैन्य कार्रवाई रोकने की बात सीधे भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच दोनों सेनाओं की एग्जिस्टिंग चैनल्स के माध्यम से हुई थी और पाकिस्तान के ही आग्रह पर हुई थी। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने जोर देकर कहा कि भारत ने न तो कभी मध्यस्थता स्वीकार की थी, न करता है और न ही कभी करेगा।
But Donald's doublespeak couldn't be more evident. At a time when Donald Trump was listening to Prime Minister's tough talk over the phone, he was also hosting Asim Munir, Pakistan's hawkish general responsible for triggering cross-border terror and scheduled to have a special lunch with the president at the White House. Trump even had the temerity to invite Prime Minister Modi to stop over at the White House while returning from the G7 summit, all while Munir was still around. A diplomatic landmine that the Prime Minister smartly avoided.
पूर्व निर्धारित कार्यक्रमों के कारण प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने अपनी असमर्थता व्यक्त की। दोनों लीडर्स ने तब तय किया कि वे निकट भविष्य में मिलने का प्रयास करेंगे।
Let's now focus on the reason Trump left the G7 summit early to begin with. Initially, the US president had claimed he would de-escalate with Iran. But even as he urged calm, he quietly cleared Israeli operations and even considered supplying bunker-busting bombs to Tel Aviv. So again, whose side is America on? And then came Ukraine.
I will prevent, and very easily, World War III, very easily. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, I will have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine settled. And it will take me no longer than one day.
After famously claiming that he'll end Russia's invasion in 24 hours,
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not
You
have war.
don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to
and
stop
then
it.
infamously getting into a spat with Ukrainian President Zelensky, Trump was confident on getting Vladimir Putin, with whom he is claimed to have great relations, agree to a deal with Ukraine. In reality, Ukraine said no, Russia said no, and Trump's plan fell apart. So what exactly is Trump's game plan? Is the US a peacemaker or a power broker? Because from New Delhi to Kyiv, from Tel Aviv to Tehran, there's one pattern emerging. No permanent allies, no permanent enemies. Only deals that serve Trump. He wanted the Nobel Peace Prize, but all he's really delivered is noise and not neutrality, and a world that's still at war. Bureau Report, India Today.
So let's ask the question that story raises. What really is Donald Trump's game plan? Is America doing what America often does, play all sides and then work in its own self-interest? What really is the US's role in a new world order? Has Trump miserably failed in his promise to end wars, in fact has allowed more wars to take place under his watch? Joining me now, Vivek Kaju, former Secretary, Ministry of External Affairs, Manoj Joshi, Distinguished Fellow at ORF and a senior journalist. And I'm also joined by David K. Johnston, a Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalist and author who's tracked Donald Trump very closely. I appreciate all my guests joining me on the show tonight. I want to actually come first to my guest from America because you can give us an insight into this man called Donald Trump, David. What is he up to? I mean, he speaks at times almost as if he believes that he can settle every war in the world. But as we are finding, Donald, as some say, chickens out in the end. What are we to make out of Donald Trump?
Well, Rajdeep, Donald has a long history of creating his own reality. He just makes stuff up. You know, he claims, for example, to be the world's greatest expert on 22 different subjects. And that's not possible. And in fact, he knows nothing about many of those subjects. He just makes stuff up. And the people who regard him as a demigod, and America is full of internet messages and images of him suggesting that God appointed Donald Trump to save America and the world. He's bought into that stuff. He believes he has these magical powers. And bluntly, he's mentally ill. He always has been. And I've known him for almost 40 years.
So you're saying Trump is creating his own alternate reality. Given what you've just heard, Vivek Kajju, how are we to interpret the events of the last 24 hours? India claims that Narendra Modi gave Donald Trump a kind of reality check.